Alright, yo, what is going on, you guys? My name's Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So this story takes place back when I was in high school, and funny enough, this is when the pandemic was happening. Basically, if you guys don't know what the pandemic is, it's basically when COVID was happening, and everyone was freaking out, thinking that everyone was gonna die, and well, it just sucked. I remember getting the email that I wasn't allowed to go to school anymore, and basically we have to do everything online through Zoom, which, don't get me wrong, I don't like Zoom whatsoever. If you guys don't know what Zoom is basically like a platform where you can like talk to people and stuff. It's kind of like Discord, but more garbage and for old people. I don't know. My opinion, just use Discord. I don't know why like we can't just do everything through Discord. You know what? They should just put me in the school system. I would do everything so much better. Sorry, going on. I remember when I first got that email, basically my teacher was saying how we have to go into Zoom. And I remember I was pretty, well, annoyed with it. Because knowing that the same place where I get to stay at home and play games and do everything that I enjoy ends up being for school. Obviously, when my parents heard about it, they were very happy that I get to use my computer system for something other than video games. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, it's not the bad thing, but at the same time, it is pretty bad because I'd rather actually go to school and hang out with people and have friends than stay at home all day and, well, do the same thing over and over again. I remember when my friends told me that we were doing everything online as well, they really hated it. They really did not like it. And I remember some girls in my school hated it even more because the girls were planning an event for the school, but sadly they had to cancel it because of what was going on with the pandemic. Anyways, going on to Zoom classes, it was not that hard. The teacher would send you a link and we just basically join the class at the time that we're supposed to be there. Kind of like real life classes. But the thing that sucked about it was that when we sat in the classroom, honestly, so many people had their cameras on, and being at home when you're technically at school as well is the most awkward thing ever. Like, no joke, if you guys had to sit in a Zoom classroom with your camera on at home, it's so awkward because anything could happen. Like, for example, I remember one kid, he ended up having his mom walk downstairs without wearing a t-shirt at all, so she's just wearing a full-on bra with her cherries out, basically telling her kid to basically put the dishes away when he was literally in the kitchen doing his class. I don't know, it was just super awkward. And I remember it became even worse later on because one time there was a girl in my math class that we were doing online, and she was really awkward. Half of the time she would never turn on her camera, or even mid-class she would end up turning off her camera. Me and the other students, we didn't know what she was doing and we didn't really care. And I remember one of my friends messaged me saying, "Yo bro, she's sending me photos, wink wink." And I looked at him in Zoom class and I'm like, seriously? With my mouth kind of like, you know, making that expression. He was laughing the whole entire time, but me, I knew something was up. So I remember I ended up going on Instagram and actually finding the girl that he was apparently getting photos from and followed her as well. When I followed her, it didn't take her long to follow me back on Instagram and actually hit me up right away. I don't know, I guess I just have that magic look. By the way, follow me on Instagram. I think you guys might end up doing the same. Going on though, she ended up messaging me saying, "Hey, like, are you in my class as well?" And I ended up saying, "Yeah, you know, I'm in your class, just chilling." And then she ended up trying to do small talk to make it seem like everything was normal, even though I knew what she was doing. And then out of nowhere, I remember the teacher, when we were in the middle of class, ends up saying, "Ma'am, can you turn your camera, please? We're in the middle of class right now. I need to make sure you're paying attention." I remember this girl starts freaking out. She's like, oh, yeah, like right now. You can just hear her like kind of like muffling through clothing and putting on clothes, I guess. And she ended up turning on her camera, sitting down on her bed like nothing was happening. I remember me and my buddy were laughing because we knew what she was doing, but I guess most of the other classmates didn't really know what was going on. But then this is where things get really actually funny and awkward. I remember a couple days go by and me and this girl started straight up flirting and at each other on Snapchat, basically flirting with each other over and over again. Funny enough, the girl ended up dropping my homie that was in the class with me that he originally sent photos to. But I mean, it's whatever because I guess I'm better. And then afterwards, she ends up sending me photos in the middle of class after 7 days later with literally flirting with this girl. It was the funniest thing ever. And I remember I basically started laughing my heart out thinking this was hilarious. Literally in the middle of class, I even remember her turning off her camera midway through classroom and ended up sending me cherry photos and, well, basically seeing everything. Now, not everyone got this benefit, but honestly, it was kind of funny because I would always get bricked up in the middle of class and I would want to, you know, turn off my camera, but God knows I'm not going to beat it in the middle of Zoom class. I've done that once and I regretted it, but that's a story for another time. Anyways, going on, I remember this girl in the middle of class texted me, "Hey, like, do you want to play like truth or dare?" And I ended up saying sure. And obviously us being in class, well, it made things really risky. For example, she dared me to literally turn on my camera and throw a banana at my wall as hard as I could with the mic unmuted. So knowing that the teacher literally heard me smack a banana towards my wall was the funniest thing ever. And I mean an actual banana. I don't mean my eggplant. And then on top of that, I remember I dared her to turn on her camera and yell, "Oh, Bubba, you're so hot." And she literally ended up doing it. I remember when my teacher heard it, he ended up looking through the entire Zoom class because there was like 30 of us in there trying to figure out who did that. And it was the funniest thing ever because he couldn't find out who it was. Well, he thought he did, but he ended up kicking a random girl student that I guess always started trouble. I don't know. There's always one girl in our classroom that always starts trouble. I can't be the only one that had this. And then here's where things got really funny as well. I remember she ends up sending me one more text. She ends up saying truth or dare. And I end up saying truth. And then afterwards, she says, you want to see me wear absolutely nothing on? I said, sure. I said, why not? Because, you know, you're not losing there. And this is where things got really funny because I remember the teacher ends up seeing her with her camera off and he ends up instantly going straight to her camera, full screening it on screen share saying, can you please come back to class? Where are you? Are you there, ma'am? She ends up turning on her camera and she basically says, oh yeah, like I'm here. Sorry, I got a little distracted. My camera turned off. My bad. I started laughing. I knew what was happening. And my buddy in the class knew that I was still talking to this girl, so he was laughing as well. It was like a cycle all over again. But then I remember she ends up texting me, okay, bet, I'm gonna give it to you. As she's looking down and I can literally see her camera messaging me that. And then this girl decided to do the literally insane thing and literally stood up, took off everything, thinking she turned off her camera still. And out of nowhere, she just straight up flashes the entire Zoom class with her whole entire body, takes a selfie with nothing on, and she sends it to me while everyone in the class was commenting on the side in the little chat box that Zoom has saying, OMG, is she not wearing anything? Oh my God, dude, no way. Dude, I just got bricked. Like, everyone was talking about it. It got super awkward, and I remember my teacher ended up seeing it halfway through his sentence and started freaking out. He was like, oh, your camera's on, your camera's on, your camera's on. You can't be doing that in the classroom. You gotta stop right there, ma'am. Stop it, stop it, stop it. Like, he was freaking out and freaking out badly, knowing that there was a girl literally in our classroom with her camera on, literally sending me a full-on photo of her wearing nothing was insane. I remember all my friends were freaking out and literally I was freaking out and my buddy was straight up laughing and he ended up typing in the chat, oh, I remember seeing that a week ago. It was the funniest thing ever. And I remember basically this girl, she ends up seeing that the camera was on because I texted her, everyone can see you on Snapchat. And when she opens my Snap, she saw that and panicked. I remember she literally ran straight to her computer and legit left the Zoom class as if nothing happened. I remember the whole class was just sitting there kind of just like freaked out and like weirded out of just what just happened. And I remember my teacher said, well, does anyone else want to flash the classroom? Everyone started laughing and things got worse and worse. And it got to the point where I'm not gonna lie, I started laughing even more. This whole thing was a laugh fest. And then I remember this girl ends up messaging me saying, OMG, I can't believe you made me do that. Like, I can't believe you dared me to do that. How could you? What? I was still on truth. I didn't even dare you to do that, is what I told her afterwards. But she was just so upset and so mad that she ended up blocking me on Snapchat and basically unadded me on every social media, which I mean, I can't blame her, but at the same time, I can understand her pain and see how awkward that would be. So I remember I basically just messaged her, I'm sorry, because, you know, it was her fault anyway, and basically just went on with my day. I remember the next day in our Zoom class, we were all basically just sitting there, kind of just talking things out and just hanging out. And it was so funny because when the girl that, you know, flashed the entire classroom on Zoom basically like joined in, I remember one of the guys was saying, yo, can you flash the class again? That was kind of hot. Literally in the chat. And my teacher had to kick him out. It was honestly crazy. But anyways, guys, that's basically it for today's story. Make sure to do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like I always say, follow for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.